Hello guys, welcome to our part 4, installing Zimbra and configuring PFSense port forwarding. So before installing Zimbra, we need to access our PFSense and enable the web UI access on the VM and configure the port forwarding. To be able to access your PFSense VM, you need to disable the PF packet filtering first, as we are accessing it via private network. So access the PFSense. Go to shell number 8, then type pfctl -d to disable it. Then go to your web browser, access the IP address. So the default is admin and PFSense, the username and password. So we need to change the password under user manager. Change with 16 character and alphanumeric. In a real environment, you need to secure and use strong password for your system, especially your firewall, any network devices, and your server. Next is we need to disable the block private networks, so we could able to access our VM firewall at the moment, but this is not advisable. This is just for demo. If you're using in a live environment, do not disable these settings. So after disabling the private access block on your firewall, you should be able to access your web UI now. And now we need to set the IP alias for our server and the port group for our port forwarding. So let's go to firewall aliases, then IP, add name. So the name is Zimbra, mail server, host, then the IP static IP address that we set on Zimbra 11. We'll also add now the anti-spam 172.16.0.10 anti-spam. Sorry. Mail scanner 172.16.0.10. Save. Right. We also add our port groups. So it's easy to create a port forwarding for our Zimbra mail server. So we'll just name it Zimbra ports. Then we'll add all the ports that is needed on our Zimbra. So we'll just access the Github. You will see the performing a single server installation. So these are the ports that we need to port forward. So we'll not port forward port 22 on the public for security reason. We'll be using this port only, port 25, 80, 110, 143, 389. We also block this port on the public because it's an LDAP authentication. We will only allow HTTP, all the mail ports that is needed. Port 25, SMTP, add port, sorry, 587, 465, 110 for the POP, 993 for the POP3S, 143 IMAP, 995 IMAP, port 80, 11 port 3 for the webmail, So let's double check. So basically, we already added the must need ports of our Zimbra to be able to be accessed from the public. So let's save it. Apply changes. Now we'll create a port forwarding from a firewall. Just go to NAT port forward, then add. So from 1. So destination, 1 address, source. Just need to type Zimbra ports. Then redirect IP, just type Zimbra, which is the host name that we already created in the IP alias. So source any. I need also to declare port forwarding to the internal network. So basically that's for the PFSense configuration for our Zimbra. Let's go to the installation of Zimbra now. So at this time, I'll be port forwarding port 22 as well because I need to easily access my Zimbra. So I'll just be adding port 22 at this moment only. I'll try to connect now. There. There you go. So the port forwarding is working on our PFSense. Now we'll need to install all the dependency of Zimbra. Let's go to our Github, Zimbra install. Then you need to install this dependency packages to be able to install the Zimbra. Now the update and the dependency is installed, we need to create a directory, Zimbra, to download the Zimbra package. We completed the download of our Zimbra. So we need to make sure our SE Linux is disabled. It's currently enabled, so we need to disable it. So you can disable it by editing the configuration file etc SE Linux config. So change it to disabled, escape, and save it. So we need to reboot to complete that. Upon boot up, let's check if the SE Linux is already disabled. Correct, it's disabled. So we'll be installing our Zimbra 8 on our CentOS 7. So start by extracting the installer. Before we continue to install Zimbra, we need to install the DNS mask. So go to the GitHub, the guide. So yum install DNS mask. On my end, I already installed it, so to make it faster, just need to configure it. So at the last file of the configuration, just press page down on your keyboard, insert the configuration that I made, then change the parameters according to your domain. On my end, I'm using practicalseminar360.net and my internal IP address. Then check conflicting ports for the Zimbra. Postfix, so it's running. So we need to stop it and disable it. Next is check the host file that is correct, localhost, and the internal IP address of your mail server plus the domain. After that, you can go to the Zimbra and install. Yes. And we'll continue to install by connecting to the Zimbra repository and download all necessary files. Install Zimbra LDAP, yes. Logger, MTA. For the DNS cache, no, because we're using DNS mask for our split DNS. Zimbra SNMP, store, Apache, spell, and cache, yes. Drive, I'll disable that. No, and also the chat. So basically this mail server is just for mail services, so I disabled the unwanted features that I don't need. So the last step is it will ask you to set up the admin password. Is yet still unset for the admin, so select number 6, then number 4, set unset admin password, select number 4, and I'll insert new password, practical seminar 360 $. For my admin password for this demo only. Valid. Okay. So I'll just accept the default password, the characters, or just type in practical seminar, and we'll reset it later on. 360. Okay. So everything looks okay. Just accept it, previous menu, then apply, just type A, enter. Save configuration data to files, yes. Enter. Yes. System will be modified, type yes.